What's up guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Priscilla, and in this video I'm going to be showing you guys how to sew this red kimono front twist dress. I already have a separate video showing you how to make the pattern, and I really like to thank you guys so much for the love on that video. Like, it was really real and it felt so good just to know that you guys enjoyed making patterns as much as I do. So if you haven't seen the pattern tutorial already, I'm going to link it somewhere on the screen and in the description box so you can go check it out if you haven't. I also like to thank you guys so much for supporting the fabric.kimdave shop. For those that keep asking me when am I adding more destinations, shipping is now open worldwide, so if you haven't grabbed some of those prints already, make sure to do so before they actually run out, because I won't be adding any more prints till 2019. So if you'd like to see how to sew this gorgeous red dress, make sure to keep on watching, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get into the sewing tutorial. To make this dress, I'm going to be using the following materials. The main one being this red stretchy jersey that has a little bit of quilting and texture on the surface. The fabric is quite thick and I'm going to be using 2 meters, so I didn't find it important to line the dress. I already have a separate tutorial for the patterns. I also need some matching thread, scissors, as well as some pins. So I'm just going to go straight in and pin my patterns down. I only have 2 main patterns, one for the front and one for the back, and you will need to cut 2 pieces for the front and 2 pieces for the back. If you would need to line the dress, you also need to cut the lining as well. You can use the same pattern, you just have to cut the dress shorter by 1 centimeter or 2 centimeters along the hem. So I'm just going in here to cutting my notches on the front and on my back using my tiny scissors so it will help me match up the pieces together. So these are my dress panels right now. I have my back pieces, which you will need 2 for. So you sew up the center back of the dress to have one full back to cover up the back of the dress. I have my front pieces like so, one for the left and one for the right, making 2 in total. The first thing we need to do is to sew the shoulder seams of the front to the back. So I've laid down my front pieces here and I had to use some weight to hold the fabric in place because the fabric is a little bit heavy, so it kept sliding down. So I'm just going in here to pin my back to my front along the shoulder, and I also pinned up the center back of the dress. So I know once I grab this piece to the machine, I know I need to sew up the shoulder seams, sew up the center backs, and then go back and do a zigzag stitch to secure my seams. So I'm just sewing here using a 1 centimeter seam allowance and a normal straight stitch and normal tension. I found that using normal tension worked for this fabric as well. So I'm just going in here and I'm finishing up that seam, and I'm going back in with a zigzag stitch to just secure my seam. And the beautiful thing about knitted fabrics is they don't fray along the edges, but if you're sewing this dress for a client, you want to still finish up the raw edges on the inside of the dress so it really looks nice and professional. So I'm done with my 2 shoulder seams, and I'm going in here to fold the neckline and front edge twice and then stitch it down so you have a nice finished edge along the back, front, and front of the dress. Even when you twist it in, that part of the dress will still be nice and neatly folded. If you are going to line the dress, this is the part where the lining would be a way to finish off the neckline and the front of the dress. But because I'm not lining, because this material is thick, I'm just going in here and I'm folding and sewing using a normal straight stitch on about 1 centimeter seam allowance, give or take. You can fold this thicker or thinner if you want, but I just folded it like so because I was happy with that. So once that is done, I'm going to go ahead and do the actual front twist, which is where the real magic of this dress happens. So I want to grab one side and grab the other side and twist them like so, lay it flat, and you want to connect the bottom to the top along the sides. So I'm grabbing this side here and I'm grabbing the top as well, and I'm just holding them in place so I know this is what I need to stitch together. So I'm just going to pin them so they don't move around, and I'm going to sew from inside outwards, and you want to sew as close as possible to that knot in front, because once you stitch up those two sides, automatically you've created a twisted front detail and the side of the dress is closed, so you have a completely covered front panel and your twist detail. So once you've stitched up the left and the right hand side, joining the top to the bottom, having that twist detail in the middle, you now have the opportunity to sew up the side seams. So you can either leave this edge or this seam in the middle like that, or you can go back and do a like overlocking or use bias binding, but because I'm just making this dress for myself, I'm going to leave it like so. But if you're making it for a client, you want to finish off that seam nicely. So I've pinned up my side seams on this side, and I'm going to go ahead and pin up the other side. But because I'm not experienced with stretchy fabrics, I noticed when I tried it on, it was really loose on me. So I'm going to be taking in about 3 centimeters from both sides along the waist, especially because the top of the dress is fairly loose and I want the middle and the hip to be a bit more fitted. I just marked how much excess I want to sort of take away from the dress as I'm stitching. So I'm just following my chalk line like so, starting from my under the sleeve to the side where the bust is, to the waist, and then to my hip and to the bottom of the skirt of the dress. So I have put on the dress just to check for fit and if I like how it sits on my body, and so far it looks relatively good. It just skims nicely, it's not really tight or anything. I'm glad the V is not too deep, because that would have just been a disaster because my cleavage would be on show. But in terms of the length, I am happy with the length. I'm glad that it's long enough so there is enough sort of crisscrossing at the front, so too much of my leg is not on show. But I feel like I want to still take out some more from the side, from the back, so it hugs my body even a bit more. I really like the sleeve. I really like the sleeve. I like the 3/4 effect that it has and how it's fitted around the hem. So far so good. I'm just going to take a bit more from the side and from the center back there as well, and then go on to finish off the hem. So I'm going to fold in the hem by 2 centimeters as well as the bottom of the sleeve, and then the dress should be finished. You definitely need to wear this with heels though, because the length is like midi and it could almost swallow you up if you don't wear it with heels. So I'm going in here and I'm finishing off my sleeve hem. I just folded it once by 1 centimeter and I'm stitching it on the inside of the dress like so. I'm going to do the same for the left and the right hand side, and then go on to fold the hem of the dress twice and sew it using a normal straight stitch to finish off the bottom. So if you are lining, like I said earlier on, the lining would be a great way to finish up the necklines, the front and the bottom of the dress. But because I'm not lining, I'm just have to fold it this way and finish it off. For better fit, I took out an additional 2 centimeters from the waist and from the hip of the dress through the side seams. I suggest if you are using thin materials, you cut a lining as well, so you have something to cover up your underwear. Or if you don't want the bulk at the front, you can just make a short inner dress on the inside. If you want to make this with the same length and the same sleeve, you would need about 2.5 meters of fabric, because I struggled with the 2 meters that I had. And if you're using a non-stretchy fabric, you can fix your zip on the center back of the dress. But I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video all the same. It was so much fun making, and when I wore the dress out, I found that people really liked the style and the simplicity of the dress, especially the color of the fabric. If you'll be trying it out for yourself, please do so and tag me on social media at Kim Dave Designs. I'd love to see your recreations. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Comment all of your questions, suggestions and ideas down below, and I will see you beauties in my next one. Bye.